All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave, cover the Bears for SM. Joined by a good friend, co-host, Chicago Bears content creator, Ficky. Of course, we have Jack on the sticks, our producer. He's going to be hopping in on the post-game live show. And we have another, I cannot even believe I'm saying this, another brutal loss. I'm not even sure where this one ranks. I do feel a little numb to it. Like, I am upset, very disappointed, of course. But I think I was more shocked, of course, in the Washington game. And in the Green Bay game last week, I think I was more shocked. But when we got to overtime, I oddly felt kind of confident heading into it because we won the coin toss. So I literally tweeted out, I was like, are the football gods trying to heal Bears fans this week? Like, did they just give us all of these breaks, right? We have the Santos onside kick. It was recovered miraculously. And then you have the Caleb Williams marching down all the way to the field. And then Santos, of course, not getting blocked, but also making the kick to force overtime. So I just felt like this game, like this is for the Bears taking. And then we have Caleb Williams, which Jack, you tweeted it, man. That clip, that sack on 2nd and 9, it can't happen. But it's like, for me, that's where the hero ball, where you like live or die by it, right? Like, he was trying to extend the play and he made it work all day against a Brian Flores-led defense that is top 5 in the league in defense in a lot of different categories. And that's where you just live and die. And of course the Bears, they died on that play. Seriously, the hopes of winning this game, I think, just went out the window. The Bears defense really obviously could not get off the field on 3rd down today, especially in overtime. But like I said, I'm disappointed. I'm going to give it over to you, Ficky. We'll go to Jack, and we'll kind of get through this game together. But again, if you're here, whether it's the first time, second time, however, whatever it is, hit that like button for us. We're excited to talk about this game. I think we're excited, but anyways, we're going to break it down for you, kind of have a good vent session with you guys. But Ficky, man, how are you feeling after this one?
Yeah, it's not as bad as the Hail Mary or the field goal, because if you look at analytics, like from a winning percentage wise, like those are 99%. Like those are almost automatic, right? Especially a Hail Mary. Like, that does not convert that often. Blocked field goals, those do happen, but they're a little less likely to happen unless you're the Chicago Bears. We've had 3 happen this season, which is remarkable, and you have 2 happen back-to-back, which is crazy. You'd think, I don't know, maybe after last week you'd figure out how to fix that going into this week, adjustments. But this one, I felt once we had it, and I was already on a high because we had the onside kick and whatnot, and Caleb marched it down. You got the 2-pointer. That whole drive was awesome to watch. And so you're like, okay, I feel a little bit confident. And then to see that sack, which Jack posts on his Twitter, everyone should check out, which we all saw if you watched the game. Brutal, right? Once that happened, I automatically knew the game was over. It did not matter. I knew you cannot give the other team the opportunity to score, because all they have to do is get 3. So if they get the ball to 20, all they have to do is go 35 yards, and most likely, unless they're the Bears, because we can't kick it that far, kick a field goal. So at that point, it was more of just like, it's over, right? Why this one doesn't hurt as much as the other ones, because it's the Vikings. I know it's NFC North, but it's like, overall, Caleb looked great. We would be even more upset if it was like Caleb didn't look good, the defense didn't look good, things like that, or didn't have some shining moments. But it's funny that the final score was 30-27, because if you guys remember what I said from the pregame, I brought up a stat. It said the Vikings are, now 9-0 when they've held their opponents to 30 points or less. Every time they've allowed 30 points or more, they've lost those games. So they would have been 0-3 if we would have found out the way to march down and get at least a field goal or 7 points on that drive. So it is what it is. I think what's best about this and why I'm not upset is because Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell, welcome to the Chicago Bears. I'm talking draft, of course. This is helping us secure that top 10 pick. And then also at this point, Flus, you're gone. It's great. You're gone at this point. You are now 5-13 in close games. I think it was like 2-11 in 8 points or less. Bro, the Vikings this year, they played like 8 close games, and they're now 7. I think they are 6. No, they were 6-2. Now they are 7-2 in close games, which is telling you that they've only won 2 games where the game wasn't close. That's winning teams, right? We're the complete opposite of that. Defense keeps us in games. Can't find out a way to march down and get one more drive on offense. So I'll pass to Jack here. Offense look good. Caleb looks good. So I don't feel as bad because we know we have our QB of the future. Also, shout out to Caleb Williams breaking the rookie passing yard record, which we all knew was going to happen. I think he may have he's one touchdown away from breaking the touchdown one next week, which I'm sure he'll do. So hats off to him. Some good plays by Kyler Gordon on defense, Montez Sweat. But yeah, this team sucks. So how you feel, Jack?
First of all, this comment is spot on. This is why you don't put me in control of the comments here. Won the bold prediction. Thank you, Mike, for calling it out. But, it was the only thing that I found good about this game was Caleb. I think the whole offense as a whole, besides those 5 idiots on the line, they look good. And then Torrey, obviously, with a really, really clutch punt there at the end that set us up in a really nice spot. But besides that, the defense did not look good. Sam Darnold ate us alive, especially the secondary. It was nice. Again, it's hard to say that because then you look at things like Justin Jefferson had 2 catches all game. And so it's like, okay, we did something, right? But then at the same time, like everybody just wide open constantly. So that was tough. The stupid mistakes keep killing us. Again, it's just the small things. The sack that we've brought up, all of us brought up now, that kills us. Some muff punt, right? Punt. Right, correct. And then you have like the challenge 44 seconds into the second half that was unsuccessful. It's like shit like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's the small things that suck. At this point, I think I speak for the entire city of Chicago when I say we are just numb to it. I don't think there was enough emotion. No, I don't think people were breaking TVs and stuff. I think it was just pure numbness. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm pissed. Obviously, I'm upset. But, like, at the end of the day, unfortunately, we have to look at the draft again and be like, what pick? I hope we can get top 10 or some shit like that. So, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Question for you both.
Well, hold on. I want to say this too. This game, losing this game, it does eliminate them more than likely from just the playoffs. Like they already had a very slim chance, but a lot of things actually broke their way. So if the Bears win this game today, the Commanders lost. They lost to the 2-8, 3-8 now Cowboys. And that's the team they were actually, of course, they have the tiebreaker against us because of the Hail Mary, but they would have been 1 game back of Washington, essentially. 1 game back. That's how close it's really the story of this season is how close this team is, right? The details, whether it's offense, special teams this week is a huge highlight, as it was last week as well against Green Bay. But what were you saying, Fick? I just thought it's such a not a monumental loss. It's such a kick in the balls, basically, in regards to you win this game. You find out the Washington Commanders also lost against a team that everyone thought they were going to destroy, right? It was Cooper Rush, I think, starting. So it's like everything broke in the Bears' favor, including the coin toss, right? Where you get the ball back, everything, where it's like you win this game. Yeah, it's still unrealistic that you sneak in. It's not unrealistic. It's just the odds are still not in your favor because of the schedule. But it's like you're 1 game back from Washington. So it's like, and they've been reeling. They're on a 3-game or 4-game losing streak themselves. Jaden Daniels making plays, but he's also looking like a rookie. So
what I tell you, though, not to get too off track, but Cliff Kingsbury in the back half of his seasons after 7 games forgets how to coach.
That on Jaden today.
Well, no, fair. I'm just saying overall, it's just kind of funny that it's kind of falling into the cards again. But yes, I think what you both said is spot on. Good teams take advantage of opportunities because you don't get that many in the NFL. It is a game of inches. We know that, right? So when those opportunities come, you have to, at least not all of them, because no team's perfect, but you have to capitalize on more than what you miss. And this team does not. They may capitalize on some, but they miss on more of those game-changing decisions, right? When it comes to details. And that's why they lose. Bad teams do that because of bad coaching, right? We have the talent, and we say this week after week, so I'm sorry to all the listeners out there if you're getting tired of it, but this team has it. We've been saying it since preseason. The roster-wise, they're good enough to be at least a playoff team, right? Maybe the last seed in, but they have enough talent on both sides of the ball to make it to the playoffs. But what they don't have talent in is the coaching side. Defensive coordinator, I guess. Head coaching, no. And then now new head offense coordinator, yes. So I do want to give hats off, and I do have a question here. Actually, let me do the question because it just popped back up. Jack, you said, the offensive line, we got to fix that, which I agree, right? I do agree. We know that's the weakness. But I actually think they are the reason why we were even able to have an opportunity to win this game. They gave up, if you don't count the Caleb Williams sack at the end, they gave up only 2 sacks against number one blitzing defense in the NFL. Now, I know Caleb got away for a couple of them. Don't get me wrong. But overall, Caleb had plenty of time, I think, to deliver. Like, if you look at all of his darts, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, real quick, I want to show this to you. Caleb Williams versus the blitz in his last 2 games, right? Which Flores, obviously he's one of the best masterminds in regards to blitzing, but 86.2 adjusted completion rate, 276 passing yards, 4 big time throws, 0 turnover worthy throws. So just want to throw that out there while you make this point about the blitz.
Which he's been great with. So he's been able to, I think, dial up against it, which is great because that was not the case. Those 3 bad weeks we had, everybody was sitting in the house because they know we couldn't. Well, we're running deep concepts, so he wouldn't have enough time, and we had injuries all across the line. But Jack, I do agree, it's still one of the weakest. King of Trenches, always agree with you on that. But I was actually surprised about how well they actually did. Now, there's some big crucial plays like the Braxton Jones, even had the false start with Darnell Wright. But overall, like, we weren't talking about Coleman Shelton at all today. We've really barely talked about Tevin Jenkins. They still got not great because they passed a lot because they were behind, but they still got 80 yards rushing from DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. So I just want to give like a little bit of a nod, and maybe it is to play calling and Thomas Brown and like the type of scheming he does, so your offensive line doesn't have to block for 5 seconds, which a lot of it is. But I will give it hats off where I think they did enough for this team to win, and normally that's not the case. And I think now we've seen that 2 weeks in a row because the past 4 games, I believe they'd given up 4 sacks or more. And this week they gave up 3 in basically 5 quarters. So, and last week, I think they gave up 3 as well. So overall, we are seeing some improvements in that, and I think that is tied to healthy people coming back. Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator. But how do you guys feel about the line? Obviously, there's still an improvement, but do you think they did
really good job today? Really good job.
Oh, guys, I want to be this optimistic. However, I think that, and
it's
this
not even optimistic. The numbers of the numbers. He had a great number. They had a great amount of time today.
But there were 11 screens, wide receiver screens called. Like, we weren't throwing downfield, and 26 of the 32 completions were within 10 yards. Like, it had to be short concept.
But you're going up against a defensive scheme that they were sending 8. You don't have, if they do anything else, that ball is either getting batted down or he's getting taken a horrible sack.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe the blocking.
I look at it where the offensive line is a struggle to the point where, on top of the blitzing team, he's gonna get killed every time, and it has to be these 1 second release plays. Like, it has to be. So, like, that was my interpretation.
The Bears were down 14. The Bears were down 14 at one point, and they knew they were gonna throw, and they did. And the Bears were able to protect. It wasn't perfect, but I think it was above average today, especially in that second half. That sack, it shows you. It, like, outside of Kmet disengaging with his defender, like, it was a great play for the offensive line and just blocking in general. Like, I don't know why Kmet did that. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He's done it in the past. He's done it in the past where he'll disengage last second and Caleb doesn't drop off to him. So I'm thinking that's like some of their scramble drill stuff. And it just didn't work out. But I kind of see what you're saying, Jack. Like, I think it's a mix of, I think it's like 70-80% Brian Flores and just bringing the house, and you don't know which 7 players are even coming too. So it's really hard to guess. And also, even last week, there were some screens. Like, these screens are turning into big plays, chunk plays, 10, 15 yards.
Both
DJ Moore his touchdown was a screen play. It's the blocking is better, both from Rome Odunze, even Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet. It's the screens are working because I think of the timing of the screens they're not even being sniffed out by the defense, which is very, very odd to see from the Bears, because typically the defense knows when they just know when that screen's coming. It's like they blow it up, right? Early in the season, the effort, I think, there was a big effort like missing in regards to blocking, because even Keenan Allen or even Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, it just wasn't pretty. Like, one person just would not get their block done or hold it long enough, and that would blow up the screenplay, make it, instead of going for 2 to 3 yards for like 10 to 15 yards, it would be like 2 to 3 yards or even a loss at some point. So for me, I think it's just Brian Flores, and Thomas Brown understood this heading into the game. It was like, hey, we got to get Caleb easy completions and get this ball moving and keep that defense honest, which I thought they did a really good job today. So I can kind of understand where it's like, is this a flaw on Chicago? I don't know.
I mean, look, they still need improvement on the line. As you know, it's not like I'm over here like, oh, everything's hunky-dory, but I think they did a good enough job versus a really dominant defense. And let's get to the super chat real quick, Jack, if you don't mind throwing on for our boy Tito. And then I have another question. Then we can get to the game overview. But Tito here with a $2 super chat. Really appreciate Tito as always. 450 yards and 30 points. But yeah, keep Flus for the defense. Joke. Well, I got some news for you, Tito. That will not be the case come week 1 next year, because he is not going to be the head coach for the Chicago Bears. But speaking of head coach, 2 weeks in a row against statistically 2 top 10 defenses. Packers were top 10 in almost every category. This defense is easily top 5. They have been all year. Thomas Brown comes in and puts on, I think, well, today for sure a clinic. Last week, I think he did a good enough job. Actually, both games we had an opportunity to win. So I would say it's a clinic for both. If he continues this, right? Again, small sample size, only 2 games. But if he continues this where we see Caleb Williams, the confidence he has, and you just see the development of Caleb keep going up and up, and by the end of the year, you're like, holy cow, this is a completely different animal. Do you risk hiring a new head coach, or do we keep Thomas Brown as the head coach? What's your guys' thoughts?
What do you think, Dave? You want me to?
I'm letting you go. I always go. I feel like I've done a lot of talking. I'll go in a second, but let me hear.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm genuinely curious.
I think I told you, and I mentioned this on the pregame, was like, it's been 1 game. And like, we're very used to like seeing a 1-game wonder every time with a new coach. However, I think that the way that this offense is running, the way that he looks like he's connecting with these players, again, we don't know anything that goes on behind the scenes. We just see pictures and some clips. I think that he might be the guy. As of now, I just think that he's fitting perfectly into Caleb Williams' like scheme, I guess, or like the way that he plays, which is what we talked about in like the early weeks where Waldron just did not adjust to his tempo, play style, anything like that. I think that like he just looks good. It's in-house. We've mentioned this. It's a cheap, cost-effective idea. And I mean, why the hell not? Again, I'm a biggest advocate for like getting someone that has the history of being head coach or like a proven leader of men. But I say out the window with that. This guy, I just feel like he's adjusting really well with what this team needs.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to get lost in today is just situational football, and the Bears losing, and just DJ Moore just had a comment here in his post-game presser. It's like we're losing in unimaginable ways. Like, it's getting comical, right? He's talking about also the Bears need to get lucky at some point. However, I think it's fair to say they got lucky. They got lucky to be in this game. The onside kick bouncing off the Vikings' knee. They're getting lucky. It's just today, once again, they just weren't able to close the door, right? They just don't know how to win. And I thought they actually learned how to win earlier this year. I thought they did, but they obviously, I think it's still just a young team. And I think that's also today. I mean, one of the biggest reasons I think this game was, the door was shut was, again, that sack. It's not all on Caleb at all, because obviously the block kick, that's 3 points, the muff punt, there's a lot of big things, but Caleb was dialed in. And honestly, I thought he was going to make a play there holding onto the ball. I mean, no wrong on him, but it's like everything that can go wrong goes wrong at the worst times for the Bears, right? And that sack with all the momentum, it just killed us, man. And the defense, if they're top 5, you got to get off the field there. Sam freaking Darnold. I know he's had a really good year, but it's like Jalen Johnson. I know he had he's had a good year, but it's like, man, I feel like he got cooked a little bit today. Even last week with the trip. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. It's just there's so many reasons this team lost. It's not one guy's fault, but I do think that at least this sealed the deal with Matt Eberflus. And I do believe if the Bears had any type of pride, they would fire him again right now. Fire him this week. Hopefully by
fire
tomorrow.
Him twice. Fire him 3 times.
Give this team over to Thomas Brown, and let's see if he can coach. Because my biggest thing here, you talked about Jack, is he's done such a good job in the last 2 weeks. And I thought Brian Flores, this was the real test today. Like, last week was awesome against Green Bay, who has a pretty good defense. At least they are, coached up pretty well. But the fact that he came in and he went to war against Brian Flores with a rookie quarterback at the helm, and the communication is unreal as well. Like, they get that ball out, and they actually where they showed Caleb Williams like kind of getting the play, and then they actually switch the camera to him in the booth, Thomas Brown, and you see him just talking to Caleb, right? Just, hey, you can kind of read his lips, like, let's go. I love the communication these two have. And so for me, I would love to see him just take over as interim head coach. This season's pretty much over. Let Flus enjoy. Like, he looks horrible right now in this press conference. Like, he knows this team is dead. He knows this is probably his last year, I hope, unless he got some outside promises from maybe, the leadership. But for me, I just think, let's see if you're going to start this coaching cycle, search, then you got to start with Thomas Brown because he's done such a good job. The players believe in him, right? This is a brutal loss, but over the last 2 weeks, the way they talk about him and the way he talks to the media is just so much different. You can tell he's a leader of men. And I want the Bears to give him an opportunity to show us in these final 6 games, because I think that's just the right thing to do. I feel like any other normal organization would just give this guy a shot, and you can see, can he be a head coach? Not just a guy in the booth.
I agree.
And I think you have a great opportunity right now to do that. And if they don't, it's such a Bears move. It'd be such a Bears move. They're not going
to, though. You know it. We all 3 of us know that's not going to happen. That's all what we want, but we know that's not going to happen. And then we're going to have to wait until the very end of the season, and then we'll have to figure out who the next head coach is going to be. But I agree, Dave. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. Give them a demo. Nothing
it's all about process.
Them. Can't believe it.
And
it's crazy.
Their process doesn't make sense, and it's not working, right?
Obviously not, because they've lost 5 straight. So
it's
you
so
gotta
funny,
figure something out. It is sad. Okay, speaking of sad, do we want to at least go over the game recap real quick, and then we can kind of talk more about the game. So I'll pull it up here real quick. Honestly, if you looked at this, you would think the Bears should have won. And they almost did, right? So if you see here, it was 30-27, as you know, win to overtime. The Vikings had one more touchdown than us and one more, or let me see. One more touchdown, and maybe that math's not right. I can't remember. Anyways, we know the touchdowns and field goals were about equal. We had one blocked, which was horrific, of course. We should have won the game anyways with that. Passing yards near the same. Yeah, rushing yards near the same. First downs near the same, right? Only they had more because they got that final drive. Like, if we'd have marched down, obviously we would have won. We had more first downs. Sacks near the same, and turnovers were about the same. So, like, we played actually at half. If you're looking at time of possession, I think they had like 9 minutes, and we had how many? Was that 10-minute halves, or so what? We had 11 minutes or something like that. We had more time of possession than they did. How many 12-minute quarters? 15? 15? I'm thinking NBA. NBA's 12.
15. Yeah, 15 is 60 minutes. Dude, you had me shocked. You said 10. I was like, what?
I don't know what I was thinking, bro. No. 15 minutes. So, okay, they had 9. I think they had 9 minutes of possession, and that means we had 21 minutes, which is crazy, and we were down in the first half. So it tells you we were moving the ball, and we were stopping them. We would just shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to capitalizing on those points like we normally do. We always find a way. So, overall, the team still, I think, played well enough to win for the second week in a row. And we found out the reason. Maybe it's just me. It's Shane Waldron. Like, Flus has been doing his Flus shit throughout the season. But what's actually given us opportunities to possibly win the game is the removal of Shane Waldron and the upgrade of Thomas Brown, which we've talked about. But let's talk about Caleb here, because Caleb went crazy. 32 completions for 47 attempts. Again, he probably shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times. But if he's going to have 340 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions with a QB rating of 103, then fuck it. Go at it, right? Because that is remarkable. We saw at least 4 plays where I was like, holy cow, right? You had the rollout where he dished it over top to DeAndre Swift, dropped it right in the bucket. You had the rollout for the 2-point conversion, or for the touchdown to Keenan Allen. Team collapses. He jumps and does another little lofter to Keenan Allen wide open. You had at least 3 piss missiles where the one to DJ Moore to get the final field goal, where he threw it over top 2 guys across the middle of the field. You had one of them to Komet. You had that piss missile on 4th down to Roma Dunze, who secured that catch, which was wild. Like, this man was dialed in, and he delivered some strikes, which we've seen throughout the season. But these past 2 weeks, we've seen him be confident in there and just throw it. Who cares if it's a pick? Trust your arm and deliver that ball. And he did that. So Caleb Williams overall, like, I don't think he could have done anything better other than taking that sack at the end. But, like, this is our guy. I feel, and we'll get to our Caleb meter, but I feel fully on board that, like, there's no question about, I've seen enough this season. There's going to be bad that comes, but I've seen too much good and even more great that I feel like they got their guy, and that's one thing we do not have to worry about. So at least from a season standpoint, we can check that off, and we feel much better going into next season. But Dave, Jack, how do you feel about Caleb Williams' performances? Were there any concerns, or was just like, no, this was the guy?
I think that's good to bring into like our Caleb meter, right? We haven't done that yet.
Do
you just want to go bring mine up?
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, mine's already here. I'll just show you. I moved to into the green. He was in the yellow last week, so I bumped him up. But Dave, here's yours. Give your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I just I feel really good about him. I always have. The Bears organization and how they develop quarterbacks has always been the X factor here. And I just am hoping that the football gods somehow intervene in this next head coaching search and they get this thing right for Caleb Williams, because you saw it today. You said it, some absolute beautiful throws under pressure. He's playing like a veteran at certain points on certain plays. One that came to mind, it was 3rd and 3. I think they were inside. I think they're on the Vikings 43 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, they see there's about 8 people coming, right? You can see the blitz. He recognizes it, stays calm. He gets that ball in under like a half a second out to Keenan Allen, who didn't even expect the ball to come. I don't know why that he didn't. Like, you have to understand the ball is coming quick, more than likely, if they bring, especially if Keenan was looking at the pressure or what Brian Flores kind of cooked up there. But he got that ball out so quick. A perfect ball hit Keenan in the hands, even though Keenan wasn't even looking at the ball. He was still kind of coming out of that break. But it's like that right there. I know it's not even going to show up on the stat sheet outside an incompletion, but it's like to stay so calm and to know where to get the ball to. And his own veteran receiver, which Keenan has been a disappointment at times. Today, he played pretty damn well. I looked like an idiot calling out, hey, less Keenan, more Rome, more DJ, but absolutely good game today from him. A lot of brutal drops across the board from Kmet and everybody, but I truly believe just those little moments, not the big plays, right, where he's extending the play, right, or playing hero ball, or the one to DeAndre Swift or Cole Kmet multiple times. It's just how he processes and sees everything is just so beyond his years. And I'm not trying to gas him up. Like, he has his flaws, but it's like next year, I think is going to be a lot of fun where we're going to be able to win a lot of these close games. And hopefully we're not in a lot of close games, right? Because I think the Bears have a rare opportunity to really get a lot of their issues corrected. And it starts with the head coach, right? So I believe in Caleb. I just don't believe in the Bears per se, but I hope somehow they luck into getting this one right. And I'm not sure if it's Ben Johnson. I hope it is, because that seems like the no-brainer. But that's why Thomas Brown, giving him a look right now is so interesting, and it should be a very, very big conversation in House Hall right now with Ryan Poles. I know you love Flus. I know he's your guy, but fuck the personable stuff. This is a business. Get him out of here, right? So that's how I think it should be handled. But I believe in Caleb. Really, really good, strong outing today. Can't wait to look at the film because I think it's going to look even better. What about you, Jack? How are you feeling?
Yeah, so my meter it's good. It's good. I loved Caleb, especially today. I'm not going to repeat. You guys both nailed it right on the head on his performance, so I won't repeat it. But one thing that really, really stuck out to me was on the play when they got the 2-point conversion to DJ right at the end of the game, and they gave us, like, after the play, they gave us Caleb just, like, hyped up that he got that. I thought that was so badass that our team is down 3 points. We have a few seconds left on the clock, and, like, odds are against us that we're going to lose. But this guy just wants to win so damn bad to where he is fired up like they just won. That is no different than the reaction he would give if he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That is the same exact thing that he would do if he, so it's nice and it's relieving to, like, have somebody that shows emotion, especially somebody that wants to win. So I don't know. I think he played awesome today. There's very little to look at where you're like, geez, he didn't look good. There was one play, in my opinion, that, like, really stuck out as, like, a rough play. We addressed it. It is what it is. It happened. It's over. But yeah, like you said, Ficky and Dave, it's our guy.
Let me ask you this, Ficky, Jack. I know we want to see Thomas Brown. I even just advocated for it, but I want to play a little devil's advocate here. Would it be too much to put on his plate right now, Thomas Brown, since he's having so much success as the OC with Caleb? Would you?
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Because of like the development with Caleb right now, and it's going in a very good trajectory, which is kind of funny because this season, if you look at it in, segments or weeks, like weeks 1 through 3, and then 4 through 7, it is kind of like a roller coaster. We knew it was going to be when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. Look at Jaden Daniels, look at Bo Nix. It's a common theme. It always happens. It's never quite, consistent, linear. But would it be? I don't know why I'm thinking this, but like, just would it be maybe the wrong decision with the success and the confidence that Caleb's playing with and the connection that's growing? I just want to see how you guys could you see that argument? Hey, let's keep Flus. I know it's not great, but I like what we're seeing out of these two. Let's not mess it up. Let's keep it in the booth.
Yes. If for sure you have Thomas Brown as one of your top candidates, you have to weigh that in and going into the offseason, like, well, look, that worked. And it, because if that's your case, right? If you're saying, I like how they're gelling, what they're building over there, which we all do, then was that a brand deal? Was that, we got a sponsorship?
No brand, but yes. OG, I'll help Mr. James out.
So,
sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. So if you are building, a great relationship that's progressing, week after week, you have to keep that in mind going into the offseason to then think that same way. It was like, hey, we want to keep Flus because we know that we don't want to mess up what's over here. Well, do you want to then mess that up again with a new offensive coordinator coming in? And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. If they're like, look, we're going to go with Ben Johnson. Sorry, Thomas Brown. He's way more proven. Like, I don't think any of us over here are going to complain about that. But that same process, Dave, they have to keep that consistent when it comes to the offseason. So especially if we continue, like, we're not going to see, there's going to be a dip in some of these games, right? But like, if overall we walk away from these, it would have been the last 7, and we go, holy cow, like what Caleb had like 300 total yards last week. He had 370 total yards this week. Like, if we see him floating around 300 plus week after week after week with like limited turnovers, offenses moving the ball, I mean, it would be hard for me to be like, yo, let's go a different direction. I don't know. Jack, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think my thoughts now are like the ideal perfect situation where I could walk away and be like, hell yeah, is exactly the same way Antonio Pierce, his story too. The same exact thing. Antonio Pierce was not supposed to make the playoffs that year when he became the intern. They were a dumpster fire team. It was bad. They were never going to win, but they gave him a chance to just like sort of give the guy, like, let the guys know who he is, what kind of leader he is. And we talked about this with Max Crosby being like, I will not play here if he's not my coach. Like, it's the same thing. So the perfect situation to me is we get off this podcast and Adam Schefter tweets out that Matt Eberflus has his suitcase packed and he's the hell out of Chicago. That's perfect. They say Thomas Brown is head coach. Give him 7 games just to work with the guys, be able to work with everybody, not just the offense, but work with the defense too. And then just like next year, let's just go full throttle. Let's see what happens, man. Like, again, I just think everyone starts somewhere. I'm sort of getting to that point where like Ben Johnson had to start somewhere where he was a nobody and he was able to prove himself. No different than Bill Belichick and whoever else. So I think just give him the chance. Why not? We have no chance of winning anything with Matt Eberflus at this point. So why not?
If he keeps this up, sorry, David.
Oh, you go ahead. No, you go.
If he keeps this up though, maybe I'm a psycho, but I think I'm going to be like, dude, why? Like, someone had a point. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. Like, if this offense starts scoring in the 20s every week, right, and we start to see something we haven't seen in Chicago since 2014, it's going to be very, very difficult, because what happens in that situation, and this is what would only happen to the Bears, right? They say, okay, look, we're going to start doing some interviews for other candidates, which is fair. That's a fair process. There's nothing wrong with that. They say, okay, Thomas Brown, you don't get it. They go for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's like, yeah, I don't want to go to Chicago. I'm sorry, I don't. You lose out on Ben Johnson. You lose out on Thomas Brown. You get the next Shane Waldron that comes in. You know what I mean? Like, that is the risk that you can take. And I only say that because it's the Bears, right? This isn't the Chiefs. That's not happening, right? They'd find someone quality and you still have Andy Reid. But the Bears would take that risk and somehow it would bite them in the ass like tenfold. And so that's why I'm a little bit scared. Again, we have a lot of football. We got to see how this works out with Thomas Brown. They can shit the bed next week or Thanksgiving against the Lions coming up. So
Brutal.
There's still a lot of football left. But if we consistently see that this offense is doing what we expected it to do from week one, I don't know.
I want to bring up this quote here from Caleb just now in his presser in regards to the impact of Thomas Brown since he took over as the OC the last 2 weeks. He goes, he has a certain aura to him that allows you to play free. Another thing that I thought was interesting, Thomas Brown had a message to Caleb before the game, and he told him to go be Superman.
He sure did.
I just like the confidence he's instilling in a young quarterback.
There's some reports.
So important.
There are some reports that, and I think we kind of can agree now, kind of looking back retroactively, that Flus being a defensive-minded head coach is very much like turnover differential is very important, which it is. And they get a lot of turnovers, so I get that. From a defensive standpoint, you're like, hey, don't turn the ball over. You give us a chance to win, right? So more of a conservative approach. And that has worked. It's just that we end up not winning. Like, it keeps us close. The first half of that statement is correct. The back half of like winning it doesn't happen. I think also there was some of that with Shane Waldron. So I wonder, Thomas Brown, one of his first things he comes in here with Caleb, right, after those bad weeks, he says, hey, look, don't be scared about turning the ball over. Don't be scared to zip it, right? Don't be scared to take those risks. And I think we've been seeing that. Muted, Dave.
Muted myself. The tape itself shows that. Today, how many times he threaded the needle on how many throws? 4 or 5, where it's like a lot of quarterbacks, you're like, that's ill-advised. Like, but you could see the arm talent based on these throws and the windows he's throwing to. It's very, very impressive. And I think it does show that, because there was a couple interceptions that I think one was dropped today. The other one was really, really close, but he's taking those risks. Those balls those completions that are by like a thread of a needle are so, so important for Caleb Williams, because that is the type of quarterback he is. He has the arm talent where he can throw to a lot of windows that other quarterbacks, Sam Darnold today. He's a good quarterback. He does not have the arm strength to do what Caleb was doing on that opposite side of the field. And so I'm very impressed at how Thomas Brown is instilling this confidence and just believing in his rookie quarterback, showing him, hey, I believe in you, man. Like, just, you're going to make mistakes. That's okay, because you're going to make up for a lot of those, right? And today it is ironic that, of course, the Superman ball obviously got him that terrible, terrible sack, but it's like, we're not in that game anyways if he doesn't be Superman at times, right? Where he's putting the team. There was 2 drives today where it's like, he's just, whether it's with his legs or his arm, making plays. Absolutely making plays for his team. And I'm very, very encouraged. It is weird to be in this situation with Thomas Brown, because you don't want that progress to stop where he has to, hey, all right, now he's the head coach, right? And he has to take on a lot more responsibilities than just being there for Caleb Williams. But at the same time, if they really want to see what he can do, he's going to have to be that guy next year, right? Unless he gives up play calling, right? I don't know if he would. I really don't.
That's what's working though. I'm like, I don't know. That's what I want. And we want Ben Johnson to come in to do the exact same thing, right? Like, don't give up your play calling. That's what you're good at. We need you to be the Andy Reid type of a head coach, where you come in here, or Sean McVay, or a Shanahan in 49ers. So yeah, I don't think he would do that. But that is a good devil's advocate kind of like hypothesis of like, hey, in the same way that keep Thomas Brown in the building next year because you don't want to mess up what's been working. Well, maybe don't upgrade him to head coach, because now he's got to worry about all these other things, and that could make him regress in certain areas. So interesting. Before we move on, I want to do our little break here. First off, if this is your first time watching, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. And obviously, if it's not your first time, go ahead and like and subscribe as well. It's free. It helps the algorithm, pushes this wonderful show out to more fans like y'all, so we can have our vent sessions after we lose probably another one on Thanksgiving, and it ruins our Thanksgiving. But we'll wait to get to that when that happens. But if this is your first time, please give a hashtag OG in the chat. New Face Gang in the chat. We'll make sure to give you a shout out before the end of the show. Also, if this is not your first time and you've been here for a minute and you're always rocking our chat with us, please give a hashtag OG in the chat, and we will give you a shout out before the end of the show. Also, if you want to support us other than liking and subscribing, you can support us because, it is holiday season by going to the BFRstore.com where we have hats, hoodies, shirts, everything you could desire. Get something nice for your family for the holidays. I say this every week because we keep losing, but hey, if you don't want to rock a Bears jersey out in public because you're afraid someone's going to make fun of you, which is well-deserved, right? You can rock something adjacent. You know what I mean? You can rock the BFR pod and people are like, oh, that's dope. And still show your fandom to the Bears without being so open about it. And then if you also want to help support us, you can join an ongoing community that we have on the Patreon. Join our Patreon, the BFR Den Patreon, where we do have monthly exclusives like giveaways, private Zoom calls, mailbag episodes. We just had our private Zoom call with a friend, Michael from across the pond. And speaking of Michael, we want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, our Hall of Fame Grizzlies. This is our top exclusive tier. We have Michael and we have Gage. Y'all have been great so far in there. And then also want to give a shout out to our rookie Grizzlies as well. We got Alex, Brian, Chris, Jason, and Eston. We appreciate all the support. If you do want to join, you can also join for free. You don't get all the cool stuff that we have in there, but you can kind of follow along and see what we have. We always post our monthly schedules to show you what we got going on in there, but we're always working on new stuff to bring value to you guys in there. And the rookie tier is like $3. That's like a cup of coffee one day per month. That's not bad. And then our exclusive tier is $10. So it's not too much. And, you get some great value in there. So if you want to support us by the store or by the Patreon, much appreciated. And if not, it's okay. But all the proceeds go right back into the show to making this better for y'all to make a better and more successful venting session week after week. So again, give a hashtag OG and New Face Gang in the chat. We'll give you a shout before the end of the show. Much love.
Man, brutal. Let's go into some voicemails. I think that will be a good little transition. Show some love to the guys that have been obviously calling in to the voicemail line.
Before we do that, let's give a reminder for just future shows. You can go to the BFR pod on Twitter and we have a link there and you can go there and go to our voicemail line. Also, if you can see down here below in the red on the orange, there's the URL right there, the speakpipe.com/the BFR podcast. All you do is go there. You have your phone. You just hit your button, you do your talk, and it records it, and it gets sent to us via email, and then we're able to post it on the show. So you can do this pre-game. You could do this during the week. Obviously, we love the post-game ones because they're fantastic. But at any time, you can go ahead and leave us a voicemail. And as long as it's clean and not, well, not clean, but as long as you're just not cancelable and you're saying some stuff that isn't appropriate, we will post it and we will share it. So thank you so much for everyone that does do that weekly. We really do appreciate it. It helps this show. It's entertaining and we love hearing you guys' opinion on it as well. So let's go ahead and get to the voicemails unless anybody have anything else before we get in. Cool. Jack, let's go to Alex first.
Hey guys, appreciate everything y'all do for Chicago Bears action. I already had my post-game freak out, so I'm a little calm now after a few minutes, but this one hurts. It hurts every time. I think we were down 14 with 9 minutes to go. Vikings score, gets called back or something. The game could have been out of hand, halfway through the final quarter of action. But instead, I still watch and I see that we climb back in and do some crazy things. And thought Caleb was going to save the day and maybe a late game turnover would shut the Vikings down. And I'd be happy for sticking with it for the whole game. But no, that's not what happened. Got my hopes up, went to overtime just to see whatever that last offensive drive was in conjunction with a pretty not great defensive stand. But, credit to the Vikings. They look good. So I'm just a sad boy, but still bear down.
Yeah, we need a shirt that says "I'm just a sad boy." That's
man. I'm not wearing that. Just a sad boy.
He's not wrong though. I appreciate the voice.
I'm a sad Bears fan. That's for sure.
That's true. Let's go to Marco here.
Another heartbreaker, but man, that was a hell of a performance by Caleb besides the sack in overtime, but I can't even be mad at him. I mean, rookie mistakes are going to happen, but if this game didn't cement him as the future, then I don't know what will for a lot of Bears fans. But man, the hurt doesn't stop with this team. Anyways, bear down.
Hurt does not stop. It is constant, everlasting. Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it. Let's go to Richard next.
Caleb Williams is that dude. I don't even care what else happened. Eberflus is terrible. We all know that. He needs to go. Thomas Brown is really good. And I say, just give Thomas Brown the head coach, or just let him be the OC for a good head coach instead of Eber fucking lose. Anyways, Caleb Williams. Better than Jaden. Better than Drake May. Better than Bo Nix. Anybody who says otherwise is not actually watching. Peace.
Appreciate it, Richard. Yeah, he definitely looked like the best quarterback this week. All right, let's go to Al next.
Well, feels like a broken record, just being disappointed from a Bears game again. But, this game was kind of different because, going into the year, this year at least, we were never really looking for any moral wins after we lost. Yeah, Caleb played pretty freaking well today, but we have too much talent on this team to just be satisfied with a good game, even though losing. We had so much momentum going into that overtime. We scored, then we got the onside, then we got the coin toss. How do we lose that game with that much momentum? It just feels like we don't know how to win. We just don't have a winning culture. So, yeah.
Spot on. We do not. We do not. All right, let's.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. There's hope. Asterisk there. There is hope. Jack, let's go to Marcus next.
Man, this team finds new ways to break my heart every week. But that was a great game. That was a fantastic game. Caleb played his best game of his career so far, pretty easily, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it didn't end on the highest of notes. Offense stalled out in overtime, and he took that really bad sack, but he is still a rookie. I know everyone had these super high expectations of him coming out of college. He was going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, but I almost feel like expectations were far too high for him to ever live up to everything. But right now, he's looking great. He had that rough stretch in the middle of the season, but ever since Thomas Brown took over play calling, the offense just looks so much better. You saw DJ Moore actually smiling on the sidelines for once. This feels like a completely different team than it did 3 weeks ago, and yet obviously we're just still losing. I feel like this season is kind of a wash. We're not making the playoffs. I don't think we're going to make a big run, but I'm very confident moving forward in the future once we have hopefully if we have a good head coach next season. Bear down.
Bear down. That was a good one, Marcus. I saw there was a funny comment. We have one more though, by the way, but I saw the comment that said Bears turned me goth from Philip. His is last here, but I thought that was funny. Go ahead, Dave.
No, let's finish up. I just have something about the kicking, about Santos.
Okay, let's go to Philip to finish it off here. He said I'm mostly appropriate, I think, winky face. Well, we'll find out here, Philip. So let's see what you got.
Yo, guys, Phil here. First and foremost, thanks for everything. Thanks for everything you guys do for the pod. Second of all, man, this team is crazy, man. We can't figure out enough ways to just lose heartbreakingly. I will say, though, this one feels better than recent weeks. I agree in that regard. Caleb Williams was a gangster out there today. We should have scored more points. We let him down on on crucial downs, dropping the ball and such like that. He did have some rookie mistakes, but overall he was a beast out there, man. And the 2 drives that he had to orchestrate that tying game, fucking magnificent. The only thing I call into question is that first 2-point conversion because, hey, man, if you convert that, you're winning on that second touchdown instead of just, tying on a 2-point conversion. But otherwise, I don't know. Honestly, it was the best case scenario game for me in terms of I fucking hate Matt Eberflus. I want him out of here. Fire Matt Eberflus. Caleb Williams is the guy. That this game backs that up. And hey, man, welcome to the draft. Ryan Poles does that well. At least we'll see what he does with the O-line. Bear down.
He makes a good point. I think we kind of talked about it without talking about it, but this is the best case, not from a fan standpoint, but from a logical standpoint. You lose, you get better draft position, but yet you didn't lose because of your quarterback. So you answer the question, we have our quarterback, and we're going to get better capital to help make this team even better next year. And that means even more that our head coach will not be here next year. So here's a hypothetical. Is it best to lose out if the offense looks good? Sorry,
okay.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Jack, you answer this one. I'm loaded up. I have something I need to get off my chest after this. But I think it's an obvious question. There's nothing to play for right now, but you go, Jack.
Yeah, mental health all-time low if that's the case. If that actually happens, I feel like I am as down bad as I could possibly be.
Hey,
I know, and that's the fear. That sounds horrible. I guess if I put on my suit and tie and think business-wise and the future-wise, obviously that'd be best case. If we can somehow with this roster that seems loaded on paper to finish in a top 6-7 pick or something, that's insane, but it's truly a possible thing at this point. So obviously, yeah, I guess it'd be good.
How many games did we win last year? We won 7 and we ended up 8, and we had a pick number 9. Why can't I remember? So long ago. Pick number 9?
Pick 9.
Yeah. 9?
Right.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot more bottom barrel teams this year. There's a lot, and there's still a lot of football left. But at this rate, if we get 6 wins,
this Cowboys win today against Washington
helps us out.
Helps out. Now they're a 3-win team, and we're a 4-win team. So we lose out. I think it's absolutely. You're crazy if you think that's not on the table, especially with the fact that Bears, they cannot win close games. So all these games leading up, they're either going to be potential blowouts for the other opposing team, or the Bears are going to have to keep it close somehow. And so for me, I don't have any faith in situational football outside of the Bears getting lucky. And even when they get lucky, you saw today, it's not enough. So
it's just crazy.
But
all the dominoes fall in line. But yeah, go ahead, Dave. I know you got some locked to load.
Yeah, I do. This is for Jaquan Brisker, honestly. So obviously tweeted him. Actually, he tweeted me. I was talking. So my tweet today about Santos was not having a big leg and it's killing the Bears. On top of that, he's very accurate. I said it. Absolutely believe in that. Has it, but he does not have an NFL caliber leg. Jaquan Brisker, he tweeted me. He replied. He said, "Chill on my guy, man," which I love that he is defending his player, right? I love that. He made plenty of kicks for us. I understand that, especially when they mattered. And he said, "Come on now." I said 3 block kicks this season. First time since 2012 that's happened.
Which is crazy.
But the low, and I love Santos. I said, I love Santos, the dude. He's a great dude. But the low trajectory is not ideal, especially when you have issues with the line already. Nothing personal. Hope all is well, right? He goes, "Don't turn on him." I think that's bullshit. I'm not turning on Santos. That's ridiculous. Okay. Secondly, it takes everybody. He's going to make more for us, and he's going to make you happy. I said, fair enough. He just nailed the 49-yarder, gave him a little handshake, right? He made the special teams the onside kick. That's great. Awesome play. He nailed the 49-yarder to send it overtime. However, there is now a picture where that ball looks like it was tipped. They were this close. They either tipped it and it wasn't enough, but they got there. And then guess what? Kaylin Kara from The Athletic, or I think it's the Tribune, she had a quote. She went into the Vikings locker room and asked some questions. She goes, "Just talked to several Vikings players about the field goal block. Santos' low kicks came up again. The Vikings emphasized getting an inside push because they knew they could get a block if they did." Safety Theo Jackson says, "We don't really cover too many kickers that have this type of low trajectory. Other weeks, you're trying to figure out at what point is he better at is he going to kick it high?" Basically, they're saying that they don't know how the kicker is going to actually get the ball off. And he went on to say, "But I feel like this week we were chomping at the bit to get to Santos because of what they were seeing on film." And then the Vikings they were asked again by Kalen Culler, said, did you expect to block a field goal this week, similar to what the Packers showed last week on film? Linebacker Pat Jones says that's kind of rare because normally teams will go clean up what they need to clean up. But I just have to give credit to that group that we have. Anyways, all I'm saying is I understand Brisker's going to defend his guy, and Santos is absolute money. He's accurate. But his low trajectory is because of his leg strength. He does not have the ability to do what other kickers can do, which they can make it from 60, 65 even. Santos, I know it's not the biggest problem in Chicago, but you're telling me next year when the Bears might be good, hopefully, right? We expect them to be good, where kicks are going to matter no matter what season it is. They're going to matter. I just feel like this is getting very dangerous territory where both teams last week, the Packers, now the Vikings, are saying, hey, we can't wait to go against Santos because of how he's kicking the ball. And he's kicking it low because of that leg strength. And again, nothing against Brisker. I appreciate him even just coming on, tweeting at me, right? Which I wish he was out in the field. That'd be way better. He's probably helping the team, of course. He even said it, but he deleted that tweet. I don't know if you saw that.
He should have.
Yeah, bro, come on, man. Yeah, you're putting your teammates down a little bit there, right? Yeah. And if you're not mistaken, tweet? He said, "Don't you miss me now?" Yeah, and it was when Jonathan Owens gave up a big play, which I think, come on. At least
Jonathan Owens had a pretty. Which is funny because Owens had
a great game.
A pretty good game.
He had another pick that was almost there and they called the DPI. All I'm saying is I love Jaquan Brisker backing up his guy Santos. And I'm not turning on Santos. I think he's a great kicker inside certain
under 45.
Yards.
He's under 40. He's under 40 yards. He's 16 or 71
in this
71.
League, you need to be able to you need a sniper. You need a guy who can hit from 55 plus, right? 60 plus even, right? Where you have those games where you're playing a playoff game potentially, right? In Chicago, where you need you have 20 seconds left. Caleb gets you down the field. It's a 62 yarder, right? Santos he's not making that more often than not. So one last thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
One last thing. I know on a huge
rant. You're good.
I'm just saying, I think I came at it very, very calmly, but even today, after last week and now what the Vikings players are here, how can you not feel like this is a big deal?
It's definitely a question you have to think about, right? Devil's advocate is, because I always think the worst for the Bears. Do you let go of something that is great from 0 to 45, but a little iffy from 45 out, right? Do you risk that to go get someone new who ends up being dog shit? Because we've seen it with there is that risk. It may be smaller, but there's a lot of teams out there that have
not bringing competition.
Well, remember last time? I'm so surprised that's not PTSD for you. Do you remember the last kicker competition we had in Chicago?
I've been through so much since that 2018 season.
That was the last kicker competition. All I'm saying is that I agree that it's going to come back and bite you, and it already has this season, right? But my fear
cost you the game today.
My fear is that they're going to end up not getting someone who's better. If you can confirm that you can get someone better, I'm all for it. That's improving your team. But like how we haven't had faith about this squad, I don't have faith that we're necessarily going to improve in all those areas because we haven't been a good team.
There's so much more to worry about. I'm just saying, I think it's worth talking. It's worth having a conversation.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure it's going on in House Hall. I know they gave this guy an extension, but it's like, man, when you have teams chomping at the bit, their words, not mine, to be able to go against Santos. Not the blocking. They didn't bring up the blocking. They said to go against Santos. And that kick that was almost I know it went through, but go back if you're watching this pod or you guys, it is this close. Like it looks like he's touching the Vikings. One of the I think it was 87, his fingertip. But it's still.
Would you consider bad blocking on that at all? On that one, because I didn't see it.
It's so quick. They're going to get their hands up. It's going to happen. Like
these are
every
giants
field goal block, it's not supposed to be blocked. Like I feel like that's even in Madden. It's hard to do, right? Unless you get the animation for all my Madden players out there. But all I'm saying is they're going to get their hands up, and that's all it seems like is all they have to do in the last 2 weeks is to get it up because it's just too far out for Santos. So again.
You made a good point, though. You made a good point, though. If the offensive line, well, not for blocking, but like if we fix other areas, you're hoping you're not in positions where you have to kick long ones all the time.
And
but
again,
unfortunately, this team is.
I love Santos. Big fan of his. Great dude. I'm very, very concerned at what we're seeing these last 2 weeks, because it seems like teams are really starting to like figure something out that they haven't in the past.
Yeah.
And that I just don't know. I don't think we've seen that very much or often in this type of when it comes to kickers being game planned for like opposing special teams.
Jack, I want to know your thoughts. But I wonder if that's something that can get adjusted. And not now. You don't adjust a lot during the
Why didn't they do it?
I'm saying
I mean,
in the off season. I'm saying in the off season, is that something Cairo can work on to like where he doesn't have to kick as low? I don't know. Yeah. If that can get resolved, then for sure. But I agree, Dave. Like it's already been 2 games back to back where
I'm just
kind of cost you.
I'm a little butthurt, man. Like coming at me like that. It's all right. I appreciate the conversation, but I'm like, I think it's a more than fair
question for sure.
Yeah. Or just like, hey, let's, like you said, if it can be fixed from a scheme, like how they block it or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
I was literally like, it just looks like a standard routine. Okay, hey, last second effort, gonna get my hands up, and the ball is just so low, like coming out, from off his leg. It's just like the room for error is not. There's very little of it, and you saw it there, like just threading the needle, where like you can honestly tell, like, did he get his fingernail on it? Like, imagine if that was blocked though. Oh my God.
I don't want to.
It came close,
he needed that. Thank God.
Yeah. Jeez. And again, like I said, love Santos. I just think that it is a little concerning. So,
Jack, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think it's very comparable to basketball here. Like the game evolves, right? So like OG basketball is like layups, inside shooting, things like that. And it evolved now to where everybody, the 7-foot guys, the 7'4" guys can shoot threes. Football is the same exact way with field goals, where it used to be 40-yarders were deep. Then it was 50. And then Justin Tucker, that's why he was revolutionary, is because he evolved it to where like he's making 65-yarders and 66, 67. The game evolved now to where kickers have got to make deep and long kicks. It's how
they are.
Right. Right. And they are, except for Cairo. So that is fine that we can say like, oh, Cairo's great. He does it great. And we brought this up last week, was like, he's very good at the inside. He's very good at the layups. Right. And he won't miss those. But when push comes to shove, man, and we're in Super Bowl 59, whatever it is, and we need a 60-yarder to raise the trophy.
Yeah. And what?
It's not that is not the guy you want walking out there,
for
man.
Sure.
It's
not.
It's a copycat league. I think Kyle Long said it, right? He tweeted it about special teams. Like they're going until the Bears can stop it, and I'm not sure if they can. It's like you can mask a safety, right? A safety being out or a bad safety, right? You can mask even like a bad right guard sometimes, right? Sometimes the Bears have done it, but it's like a kicker who cannot kick from 60. It's like, I just don't know until maybe they can. Maybe I'm just being, blinded here and I don't know. Hopefully they can, because Santos, like you said, the accuracy is hard to find, but it's like
the power.
It's almost like it offsets because of the power. And so,
anyways,
I think it's fair. I want to end this real quick. Or
I was gonna say there was a couple people, and I was gonna say there's a couple people. I don't know if we want to address it. Bless you, Jack. There's a couple people that were commenting about Stevenson because he did not play most of the game. I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
However, Terrell Smith, God,
wasn't great. To be fair, this is the hardest wide receiver group that they'll have to face.
Jordan Addison make you look silly, dude.
Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson. Look, that's a tough guard.
Killed us, dude.
That's a tough guard. So
Hawkinson over 100 yards. First time I think in a while in the Vikings uniform. But I want to leave some positivity, boys, here. Caleb Williams, obviously very good impact today. But I want to hear from the opponents. This is from Harrison Smith, Vikings safety, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. He goes, and this is basically the question was, what do you think of Caleb Williams? Saw him first time today. He says, yeah, I mean, he's as advertised. The creativity, arm talent, escapability, he's a good player. And then linebacker Jonathan Greenyard, the guy that got that sack.
DN, he's so good.
In overtime. He's a DN? Okay.
I think so. Oh, outside linebacker, DN.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Yeah, interchangeable. Yeah. He goes, man, this is he was asked about Caleb's again as well, playing him for the first time. He goes, man, his arm talent is crazy. We knew that going in, but just actually seeing it in person, his arm talent is up there. But we knew that if we made him uncomfortable, he tried to make some plays at the very end. He fell into a sack on me for one of mine where I got a sack where he was holding the ball. Bright future ahead of him. Really, really good player. Bright future ahead, as he said it once again. So I'm just like, it's very cool to see those players give some good players, give some respect to a rookie quarterback like that, because too often or not, we see Mitch Trubisky even, right? It's like there were some red flags on how other opposing players were talking about him, even Justin Fields at times where it wasn't great. So that for, I'm not going to say a divisional rival, but the Vikings, of course, very, very good team. Also, Kevin O'Connell had a very, very good quote on him. And I'm just trying to end on some positivity, I guess.
Hey, we'll take it.
But he told him, this is what Caleb, because they kind of met together at the midfield. And he said that Viking head coach Kevin O'Connell told him after the game just to keep going and that he was one hell of a player. So there's your positivity to end this pod before we maybe get to some questions and such. But I said,
no, I think that's great. I think Dave, you nailed it on the head where it's like, we don't always hear that positive report from, with Fields, it was definitely running. They've talked about like, yeah, you can't stop him. He's an animal. But from a passing standpoint, we didn't always hear that. So that is good to hear from a really good defense. We do have one question here that I want to pull up because it is kind of important, because as we know, the Bears do play on Thanksgiving this week. We will not do 4 days, right? We will not do a post-game live on Thanksgiving. We don't want to put you guys through that hell anyways, right? We want you to enjoy your Thanksgiving. We want to enjoy ours. But we do have a question here from OG Eduardo. He said, when will the pregame show be for the Thanksgiving game?
Yes. So let's take a look here. So today's the 24th. We have Christmas on the 28th. So we're going to get with the boys, get with the team here. I think we're looking at either Tuesday or Wednesday for that pregame show. What do you guys think? I guess we could do this live. What do you guys?
That works for me. Yeah, we could do Tuesday or Wednesday. I think
we'll do Tuesday. Give it some airtime, because I think we'll aim for Tuesday evening. We won't set on a time here, but look for Tuesday evening for that pregame show, and then the 29th, day after Christmas, after hopefully a win. No?
Why do we have holiday? Why do we have holiday games, man?
Yeah,
it's just tough.
But we'll have our post game show on the 29th. We'll let you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. We're gonna enjoy ours, and then we'll be we'll be good to go.
Oh man, that's tough. Jack, we want to get sorry that it's always on the holidays. I'm like, bro, come on. I know we were excited about that before when we thought, when the schedule dropped, we thought we were going to be good. But when you're not good,
weird, man. The Bears are. You flip 3 of these. I think they've lost by a total of 4 points the last 2 weeks. You flip those 3 losses. This is a completely different season.
Remember, by week 6, even when we were up, like record-wise, I think we were 4-2 or something like that. I can't remember. It's been so long.
Heading into Washington,
they were all close. Like even the 2 losses were by 7 points or less. I think would have to go back. I think every single one of our losses, except Arizona, has been because we lost to the Patriots too, which is ironic. The worst 2 teams that we played on our schedule, we got whooped.
But that's the Hail Mary effect. I'll tell you that right now. And we also had Shane Waldron, doing his best to hold everything.
That's the terrorist effect right there. That one right
but
there.
I will say this: this team, it does remind me a little bit like that one team, the Lions, where they just lost so many close games, or was it the Vikings? I don't know. It honestly feels like next year is going to be such a better season, because they're going to have so much more, resources and money spent on the trenches, on top of you got a lot of players still under contract, rookie contract, and then really good deals like DJ Moore, Montez Sweat. It's like, I think you add a few more pieces, I think they have a chance to really get going next year. I'm not saying, win a Super Bowl, but it's like really compete for at least the division. And then I think they should at least very, very minimum get a wild card spot next year. Especially if Caleb continues that growth.
Hey, look, polls may not hit on everything.
Yeah, let's hold on to this.
Yeah,
for sure. The future.
But it is now draft season, so
it is. Yeah. I did a mock midway through the game. I was so upset.
Oh no! No.
I posted to us in my mid-game mock, but let's go ahead and give shout-outs to our wonderful supporters.
Time out. Could you imagine beating Green Bay on a game-winning field goal last week, right? And then coming back, getting an onside kick, beating the Vikings in overtime? Like, that could be the alternate reality, Bears fans. Instead, like you said, it's mock draft season. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving is fantastic. Let's oh man, the alternate universe would be fantastic. I'm sure myself over there is enjoying it.
This is real fucking life.
Mr. James here with the hashtag OG. I'm just hoping the hashtag flu season is over. It probably is not. Hashtag this sucks. Let's go to Reggie Matt here with the hashtag OG. Love this show. Reggie on Facebook, we appreciate it. We love you as well. Hashtag OG for Caleb. We appreciate that. And then we got, Caleb and Mitch back to back. Okay. So hashtag OG with Mitch in here with feeling good about Caleb in the offense, but get Flus the fuck out of here. Hashtag the Bears. Couldn't agree more, Mitch. We got Jason on Facebook with the hashtag OG Bear Down. Thank you, Jason. Hashtag OG for Boogie Poo. I love that name. I'm going to need more information on what that's for, but appreciate it. Hashtag for the OG there.
We got any more?
Yeah, we got more.
Cool.
We got a couple more in this one. We got Imperil with the hashtag OG Old Face Gang to the big fucking Rod Pod. We appreciate that. And then we got Richard Woodhouse on Facebook.
People are going to think that's our
OG.
show.
I know.
I love it. If you don't get that gift, that's an inside joke from, I think, the off season where a lot of people are like, some people are asking, what does BFR stand for? It's Bears Film Room, of course, but the big effing Rod is also, I guess, an alternative, depending on the day, depending on the show. That could be it.
For sure. Then we got mostly after we lose. That's when that hits great. Which is a lot. We got Kyler here, a young one on here on YouTube. So I don't know if I'm a new face or an OG. You know what? Your Avi makes you look new, but you're an OG to the show. So we appreciate it, Kyler. You're a true OG. And then we got Plastic Rockets in here with the hashtag OG Sad Boy.
To be an OG is simply, this isn't your first time watching. If you watched last week, you're an OG.
You're an OG now. So criteria is very
next
easy.
Week you'll be an OG.
You've been
essentially
christened in.
That's
easy.
the rules.
Then we got the final one
we
here
change
with
them.
Edward. We're gonna strip it from everyone after the season.
We'll make it.
Just kidding. We got Eduardo here to end it here with hashtag OG Ryan Pace / Matt Nagy, Ryan Pohl / Matt Eberflus, ban all Ryans and Matts.
Yeah,
we got more coming. Let's do them real quick.
We lost like this in front of Connor Bedard. Yeah, hit that like button. Thank you, Amphiarius. I think I said that right.
Yeah, Amphiarius.
That was confident. I went all up.
We'll rock with it. I'm not mad about it. We'll go with it.
My man Armadillo.
With the hashtag OG, I forgot to say the actual hashtag. And then Michael, our friend over the pond and our Hall of Fame Grizzly tier member, hashtag OG, great show. It sucks you have to stay up so late in Britain to watch this team lose, but we appreciate it and to hop on the show as well. So thank you so much, Michael. And then shout out to all of y'all. Y'all are fantastic. We love doing this show. It helps us, after watching this tearjerker and heartbreaker of a game. A little bit. I feel a little bit better with the vent session. So
also,
thanks to y'all.
Before we go, another fun fact from Kevin Fishbane, real quick. I just want to end with a little bit more positive. Bears have gone 5 consecutive games without throwing an interception, the longest streak for the franchise since 1932. You can see Caleb Williams really doing his Aaron Rodgers impression, in my opinion. He just really does keep the ball. He does keep losing the games, but it's not all on him.
Now.
It's very Aaron Rodgers-esque, where it's like he doesn't really put the ball in harm's way, except for a couple times today. But that is very impressive. So, anyways, we appreciate y'all. Hit that like button, subscribe. We appreciate the support. We'll be back, like I said, probably Tuesday evening to preview Thanksgiving against the Lions, and then of course we will recap the game on Friday, and there will be no instant reaction post-game. We're going to enjoy turkey, Thanksgiving with the family, and we'll be back Friday for that post-game pod. All right.
Sounds good.
We'll see you then, boys.
Hey, peace.